Society, Dr. Sarabde Sir, Principal, MESCO Pune, Dr. Dare Madam, Vice Principal, Dr. Sheikh Madam, President, IIC-MESCO. Today's speaker for the session, Mr. Darshak Shah Sir and Mr. Sachin Khoth Sir, Dr. S.H. Gavande, Convener, IIC-MESCO, Dr. Rahul Ma'am, Startup Coordinator, IIC-MESCO, Bhagishri Madam, Faculty Coordinator, IIC-MESCO, all the HODs, Dr. P.P. Mane Madam, HOD ENTC Department, Dr. Chaugule Sir, HOD MEC Department, Dr. Adkar Sir, HOD FE Department, all teaching, non-teaching staff, and all the attendees. Once again, I extend my heartiest welcome to you all on behalf of Modern Education Society's College of Engineering's Institutions Innovation Cell, IIC-MESCO, for the session on Motivational Talk by Successful Entrepreneurs. Just Data Sciences is a state-of-art data science company based in India with a global reach to the United States. They deliver data engineering, data science, and Industry 4.0 solutions with latest and best tools and technologies. Now, let me introduce you to our speakers who are the co-founders of Just Data Sciences. They are our very own alumni from MESCO, from Computer Department of 2005 batch. Mr. Darshak Shah is co-founder and CEO Just Data Sciences. He has completed his management program from IIM Calcutta and completed his MBA from Babson Graduate School of Business, Massachusetts. Our second speaker is Sachin Khoth Sir, who is co-founder and CTO from Just Data Sciences. He pursued his bachelor's degree from MESCO itself. He completed his MTech from IIT Kanpur. We feel extremely honored to have you both here today, sir. I request all attendees to kindly be disciplined.
Tiksha, you were not audible in between, I think.
Yes, Tiksha.
The last two statements. Have you invited the speakers to start?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Please repeat that last statement.
Okay, I'll repeat. Yeah, yes. So sorry.
That's fine.
Let me introduce you to our speakers again. They are our very own alumni from Computer Department 2005 batch. Mr. Darshak Shah is co-founder and CEO of Just Data Sciences. He has completed his management program from IIM Calcutta and completed his MBA from Babson Graduate School of Business, Massachusetts. Our second speaker for the session is Mr. Sachin Khoth Sir, who is co-founder and CTO of Just Data Sciences. He pursued his bachelor's from MESCO itself. He has also completed his MTech from IIT Kanpur. We feel extremely honored to have you here, sir. I request all the attendees to be disciplined throughout the session. There will be a Q&A session towards the end of the webinar. I now hand over the session to our speakers.
Yes.
Thanks, Tiksha, for that warm welcome.
Thank you, Tiksha.
Does you want to get started?
Yes. Thank you everyone for inviting Sachin and I for this session. We are deeply honored and give our sincere gratitude towards this gesture of MESCO. It's a really big day for us because we have been on the other side of this. We have been students as MESCO, and most of the teachers and head of departments and the principals are the ones who have taught us. So we are really grateful for their guidance and their support and all the help they have provided us in shaping our career and shaping our character as well. So thank you. So I will now get started with the session. Let me share my screen. Okay, in order to share my screen, I'll just have to quit and join Teams again. Just give me 1 second.
Okay, sir.
So in the meantime, until Darshak joins, I just want to just stress on this. We want to keep this session interactive. So make sure that you ask all the questions that you have. I think that's where we want to focus on that. So yes, I think there is also this chat, or I think there is a WhatsApp channel that is created. So please make sure that you send your questions there. I think Darshak is back. Darshak, back to you.
Hey, yes, thank you. So yeah, let me just share my screen. Are you guys able to see the screen?
Yes, your screen is visible.
Okay, great. Thank you. Uh, to give you a quick overview about our journey and to give you an idea of, how to start your own company, how to have a successful startup, where do you get started. Sachin and I will go over some of the steps that we took in our journey and what would be some helpful resources. And like Sachin said, we would like to have this session as a very interactive session. Uh, so the agenda is, we'll start with our journey, then we'll talk about some of the things that work for us. Then there are three open-ended questions where we really want to hear from some of you who are very seriously thinking about starting your own company. And then we'll talk about some of the basic principles of startups that have helped us and helped many other companies that we talk to, or many other companies that we are connected with. So to get to our journey,
Yes, just a second, Darshak.
yes.
Kindly go to the slideshow presentation mode.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. So yeah, I would ask Sachin to get started with his part of the journey.
Okay, thanks, Darshak. So let me quickly cover it. As Darshak said, and we are thankful for all the teachers, principals for inviting us. So this is like homecoming, right? You go out in the world, and then you come back to your college, and this is really exciting for us. So both of us graduated in 2005 in computer science, and then we went our way apart. So I was placed in Zensar Technologies, where I worked for about a year or so. Then I did my post graduation in IIT Kanpur. I did my MTech in high performance computing. So after that, I was placed in a company called Cisco Systems. So it was in basically all networking stuff, switches, networks, and backbone of networking, right? So that is where I learned to work in a big company mode, right? Like how huge companies work, which are across continents, and how are the different processes that are set up there, right? So I spent about 2.5 years in Cisco, and then moved to a startup called as Dhruva. So this was I think 2010-11. It was not a well-known startup in Pune. I was one of the first 50 employees. And it was really an exciting experience to work for a startup. So Dhruva is now a multi-billion-dollar company. It's one of the unicorns born out of Pune. And I was fortunate enough to be a witness of that journey, starting from like 40, 50 people and going to about 1,000 people with multiple rounds of funding. So that's where I got exposure to what a startup is and how it grows, right? And then finally, Darshak and I, when he was working his jobs, we used to have this conversation. What is next, right? He was in US, and we always had this conversation like we need to start something of our own. And it was that it just never happened in between. But after my almost 8 years of stint in Drua, I was ready for it. Kind of, Darshak was ready before me. And then he started just data sciences, and then I jumped on it maybe 6 months or a year after he started. So I think Darshak will cover. He'll talk more about just data sciences and like how we started, right? So I think Darshak, over to you. You can
Yeah.
cover your part.
Yes. So yeah. So like Sachin said, we both graduated in 2005. He was a class topper. I was uh, I was graduated with just first class. But it was a good time at MESCO, and uh, then I joined IBM as a software engineer. I was in the systems and technology labs, so a really good company. And really great culture over there. Learned quite a bit about corporate, how large companies work. Spent 6 years at IBM. It was like learned quite a bit. Really got a lot of technical knowledge and a lot of other management lessons. Then I went to Babson for my MBA. So Babson is known for entrepreneurship. So I have always wanted to start my own company. That was always the dream. So got an MBA from Babson, focusing on entrepreneurship, analytics, and marketing. Then joined a company called as Grand Circle Corporation in Boston as VP of analytics. So this is where my journey in analytics and data science started. Some of what I was doing at IBM was also kind of analytics, but yeah, here I formally started my analytics career. Then came back to India after about 5 years, joined a startup called as Early Salary. So here I was one of the first 20 employees. So again, like Sachin said, saw a startup grow from a very small company to a large, relatively large company. Right now, Early Salary is about 250 employees, I think. So again, they've, saw all the raising of funding and a lot of other other things startups have to do. Joined another company called as Sears. This is where I got a lot of services exposure. So all the other companies that I worked in the past were all product companies. Sears was the first time I worked in a services kind of environment, learned how a services business is run. Worked there for about 1.5 years, and then started Just Data Sciences. So at Just DS, we specialize in three things. We started with only offering data science services, and gradually we started providing data engineering services because our clients were looking for some data engineering services. And then we evolved into providing Industry 4.0 solutions, because that is kind of all, everything is connected by data. Like whatever we do, it's all about data, whether it's data science, data engineering, or Industry 4.0. The common theme between these three things is is that we are passionate about data, and we really want to build solutions that make use of data, that gives you insights from data, that help you store your data, that help you organize your data, that help you collect the data. Everything is around that. So that's been our journey. Now I'll talk a little bit about what worked for us, right? Because so startup journeys are like reading biographies of great leaders, right? You will, if you read 10 biographies, you will learn n number of different things that work differently for all of those leaders, and it's not going to be only one way to success. There can be many paths to success, and so this is what worked for us, not necessarily what will be the best for you, but at least it is worth knowing. uh, the first one is finding the co-founders with complementary skills. So we are actually three co-founders, Sachin, Bhakti, and I, and all three of us bring very different kind of skills to this company. Bhakti is specializing in finance and admin, and a little bit of marketing. I have skills in data science and marketing and sales related skills, and Sachin has very strong skills on the technology leadership side as well as data engineering side. So these skills that complement each other is actually a great recipe for success, and we are lucky to have found each other and found somebody that we know for a long time. So that actually is very helpful. And all of us have exposure on how startups work. All of us have worked at different startups throughout our career. So we kind of know what to expect. We have seen other entrepreneurs, build companies, make mistakes, correct their mistakes, and grow from those. Yeah, having that exposure, if you are interested in starting your own company, and let's say you directly want to do that right out of the college, we would highly recommend you at least talk to a lot of entrepreneurs, build your network, communicate with them, go to startup events, talk to your friends who have done startups, because uh, having an exposure in that is going to be definitely very helpful. Yeah.
Right. So
Sachin,
yes, continuing on that, networking and connections. Like maybe in the college life, we somehow think, oh, like what is networking, right? It's a buzzword, but we don't really know. So just that going to events, exhibitions at college level, I think you guys already attend events and making friends. Also professionally, just like going to companies for internships and making connections there, right? Those things definitely help. Maybe not. This is like a long-term investment. You have to. You can't really expect results right now, but in future you'll definitely know. Okay, I know this guy who can do this. I know this person who is good at this, right? Those kind of things really help us. And something like this, for example, we don't do app development, but we have friends who are like really good at that, and those network and connections come very handy when we have a project. Part of the project is data science, data engineering, but part of the project is developing an app or a website, right? Which we don't do right now in house. So we just connect with those people, collaborate with them, and we kind of do that project together. So this networking connection building over time is important. And lastly, I think knowing what we are signing up for. So this is important. Out of every 100, so this is the stats that I've been reading. Out of every 100 startups, 75 fail, uh, and that's true uh, because I think and it's okay to fail. I think failing is not a terminal or a final thing. You always learn. You can come back. But it's very important that you know what you are signing up for, right? So it's like what are the things that you're giving up for this taking this step, right? So what are the pitfalls, and are you going to be okay with being alone sometimes, where some of your friends are like doing awesome things and things like that. So you should be really thinking this through before you kind of say, okay, I want to give this up. So for example, in case of Darshak and me, I would say we had a cushy corporate jobs and a good career setup for us, right? And I would say we were at our peak, and then the thing is like getting a really good salary. Do you want to leave that? Every month you're getting good salary in your bank account, and are you ready to leave this up and start something from zero, right? And we don't know we are going to be successful or not. I don't call ourselves successful yet. We have just started. But yeah, we knew these answers, right? Okay, we said we have seen the starters, and we know, like, we knew that the worst case could be we fail, right? Always think about the worst case. We fail and we go back to the corporate jobs. That's always an option, right? So it's okay to fail, but knowing that option, what is the worst that can happen, and what are you signing up for? It's important before you take a major step like this. You can't be hasty in these regards, right? Yes, Tashik.
Yeah. So
One. Yeah. So yes, so just continuing on that, like ask yourself the question, like, why do you want to do this? If you want to like start a company, you want to be an entrepreneur, or you want to be just like a self-employed person, like a freelancer. You don't want to take up the normal path that is set out for everyone, right? You taking a corporate job somewhere and spending time. That's okay, but you have to be very convinced, like why you want to do this, right? Don't convince anybody else, but you have to be very true about this in your mind. Okay, why I want to do this, and like how much time I'm going to give to this experiment. Treat everything as an experiment, right? It's not forever, right? You can say, okay, I want to spend 1 year doing something that in this direction and see how it goes. And always have that worst case option. Okay, if this doesn't work out, what is that I'm going to do, right? So this is like, I'll just say that you have to be very convinced and true to yourself. Like, why do you want to do this? Because generally, what happens in media or in the social circles, you'll only hear the stories of success, right? People have become successful. They have built teams, they've got funding, they've got rich, those kind of things. But you don't hear those 75% stories where people have worked day and night, hard work, and they have just not able to make it. So it's a matter of luck also sometimes. Then but you have to know that, okay, this is I could end up both sides, right? And you should be ready for that. So you should be very convinced that why you want to do this.
so do we want people to share their thoughts of like why somebody who is thinking of starting, like maybe a couple of people can share what are they thinking, why they want to do the startup. I would like to hear from some students actually.
Anybody wants to share anything, please raise your hand so we can mute you.
Yes, I think there is a audio problem at Titiksha's end. Anyone having any queries, want to share your experience, you can raise your hand so we can unmute.
Okay, first thing you have to
Yes.
be an entrepreneur is be fearless. So just, yeah, like feel free to speak up, speak out, whatever.
Yes, I think there is a one hand. Yes, you can unmute yourself, Son
Yes,
Kamre.
yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Hello. I would like to say that doing a 9 to 5 job or something like that doesn't contribute anything or any of your skills to the world. Right? Like everyone does 9 to 5 job, but considering of some of the startups like let's say Microsoft or any like social media apps like Facebook, Instagram, they have done such a work that after the people who started these startups like Apple was a startup by Steve Jobs. mm, After he has now say he's not in this world, but everyone remembers that what the work he has done. Yeah, so yes, that is the passion or the motive that we will start a startup. Yeah.
Great, great. That's really good to hear, and I love that. Like, always have your ambitions very high. Don't devaluate yourself. Dream big, because you will need that. Trust me, because there will be days when, after the end of the day, you'll be thinking like, why am I doing this? What am I doing with my life? But it's that big dream that will keep you going. Otherwise, things do get hard, right? It's a startup. It's a journey that's difficult. It's a journey that not everybody takes. So you need that passion, that driving force, and maybe write it down somewhere, right? Because from time to time, you need to remind yourself about why you started with this journey. What was your goal? What were your ambitions? So yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else wants to share anything? Okay, I think we can move forward. So yeah, so the next thing is, what are you willing to sacrifice? Now, uh, this may not be in the very negative connotation, like, sacrifice could be your time with your family, maybe you have some job offers from some really good companies, or it could be, your social life sometimes, right? So, what are you willing to sacrifice is basically what will you not be able to pursue, maybe if you are doing your own startup. And it's not always that, like, yeah, entrepreneurs like work 24/7 and they don't have fun. Like, yeah, there are periods, there have been periods in our life when, maybe for a couple of months we didn't take any weekends off. But other than that, the rest of the time, again, the other perk of having your own company is that you're your own boss. So you get to decide what you want to do. You get to decide how much you want to push on the accelerator versus, sometimes take it slow, sometimes take it easy, so that you don't get burnt out. So this is again a good thing to know. And uh, again, like, things like this, maybe you should write it down somewhere. What are your thoughts? Because if you write it down, first of all, it will give you clarity of thought. And also, in moments of doubt, in moments of difficulty, when you read what you wrote down when you started the journey, it helps you feel good about yourself, feel good about your decision, and
Right.
move forward.
So just add to what Darshak said. It's not all glamour, right? It's like it's sometimes it's worse than 9 to 5 jobs. Somebody said about 9 to 5 jobs, right? Sometimes you just question yourself, why did I leave my job and what is this I'm doing? Am I supposed to do this? But then that's the sacrifice we are talking about, right? To build something, you have to stand there and saying that this is something that I signed up for, and I'm willing to do whatever it takes. Uh, so that thought has to be there, right? Like, what are you willing to sacrifice when you see your friends rising career ladders in some other companies? You might always see like this person got promotion, this got person got a offer from XYZ company with this much package. Uh, like, are you okay with that, right? Those are some of my points of questions. You may not earn a lot initially, but you'll be happy at the end of the day, like that. And you should be happy if you take this decision consciously and you signed up for this. Like, if you're not happy, I think then that there is some doubt still in that question, like, did I want to do this? So this is again like a thought experiment before you jump into like a startup or like a self-employed career, right? What are you willing to sacrifice? So yes, that's it. Yeah, I can move
Yeah,
on.
and like Sajjan said, somebody got a promotion. But trust me, if you have your own startup, and it's a much greater feeling to give somebody a promotion than to get the promotion. So yeah, if you are on the other side of it, it feels really good. So yes. Yeah.
Yes, so I'll cover this maybe. So there's always a question, when do you think is the right time to start, right? And I would say there are two ways to start, generally speaking. Anyway, you can start, like there are always examples where people have started different periods of their life and career and they are successful. But broadly speaking, I would say there are like two ways, two places to start. One is just when you're in college or when you are freshly graduate from college, when you don't have much to lose, right? You don't have a home loan EMI to pay. You don't have a family to tend to. Those kind of responsibilities are not yet on your shoulders. So that is one of the times I would say basically you don't have much to lose. So that is one time you can get started. That is a good time to get started. And the other is where me and Darshak started. Maybe once you jump into the whole corporate world, see how things are, and you reach a stage where you are comfortable, you are financially well settled. You can say, okay, if I start, maybe if I don't earn a salary, I can support my family till maybe 2, 3 years, and after that, I have to think about it. So that is another broad category where people start up maybe 10 years, 15 years. I think 30 to 35 is the right age for that second category to get started. But again, there are no rules about this. These are just two broad categories where you can start. And it's okay to know that I don't know enough. I want to go into a corporate job. I want to learn something there, and I want to come back and start something. Uh, like you have to be really honest about yourself. Like what do you know? Like where are you right now? Where do you want to get? And what are the dots in between? And how are you going to conquer those dots, right? So it's all about the thought process that you put in, the risk you analyze, and then you give a runway to yourself, saying that okay, this 1 year, 2 year, I'm going to spend here. I might fail. Worst cases, I'm going to fail, and I go back to the corporate grind or whatever you call 9 to 5 job, and it's okay, right? You can come back again refreshed with more energy. So yeah, so those, I think this is important to think that when you should start, right?
Yeah, so now these are some of the startup principles that have that have helped us, and that are kind of considered some of the best guiding principles that I have also learned throughout my MBA at Babson, and looking at a lot of other entrepreneurs, learning from them. These are some of the top principles we can definitely say you should keep in mind. So the first thing is know your specialty and play by your strengths, right? So, for example, what is it that you are really passionate about? What is it that what is something that is unique about you, and you would just need to know this. To find this out, you can, like, many people would already know, like, oh, I'm like, there might be somebody who's like really good technically, somebody might be really good at designing UIs, somebody might be really great at analyzing data, they might have good knack at looking at data, graphs, charts, understanding of data, making inferences from it. So whatever is your strength, right, you need to like think of that as your key area where you want to start the company, or at least use that as one of the biggest strengths of your company. So
Right.
so like
So just to
yeah.
add to that, so there was a time like we all were in school where we are forced to work on our weaknesses. Like maybe you're not good at maths, then you spend more time on maths. But I think that era is past, right? You have to play by your strengths. You focus on what you're good at and build on that, because that is what is going to give you success, not your weaknesses. Just make sure that your weakness does not become a hindrance in your progress. Just make sure that you clear all your subjects. If you don't like a certain subject, make sure you clear it. Don't have a backlog and all that. But otherwise, don't spend like too much time stressing on your weaknesses. Focus on your strength, build on that. It may be for like computer science student, it might be coding, right? Just writing code, right? That is really important. Like circuit designing for electronics and ENTC students, and maybe machine designing from scratch. Could be like those are the core areas, some of the core areas that you can build on, right? So play by your strength is important in that way. Yeah.
Yeah, the second one is build your personal brand, demonstrate. So once you have identified your strength, you build something that's small. That when I say build something, it doesn't mean you take a 3 years off and just try to keep making something in a silo, but build something demonstrable. Build a prototype that you can put out on the web, maybe on a GitHub repo, so that you can show somebody, you can show your friends what you have built, you can show your colleagues, you can show, maybe you join some meetup groups, you go to some startup events and you demonstrate what you have built. So build a personal brand, basically build something that is demonstrable, that is end to end. Somebody can look at it and say, oh yes, this is, a prototype of an end product. You might have, many of you might have seen Kickstarters, right? So Kickstarters, many of them just have a prototype. They say like, yes, this is my idea, I have already built a prototype, this is what I want to build in the future, and with more money, with more time, with more resources, I can refine this into something much better. But at least the prototype proves that your idea is real, your thing works. And then so like and associated with yourself, right? So that's your uh, again, it could be a software project, it could be a hardware prototype, anything that you are passionate about. uh, and the third one is validate your idea. Now this is, I think this is one of the biggest, most important startup principle that I have seen a lot of people who are passionate about starting their own startup and who really want to start their own company, and they have everything, right? They are very smart, very intelligent people, hardworking people, talented people, but the companies that failed, like Sachin said, right, 75% of the companies fail, is that they build something that they think is great. They think like, oh, everybody will love this, everybody will want this, if I build this, people will come and buy it from me. And they spend a very long time building something without actually going out and talking to people, asking them, hey, I'm building this, would you be willing to pay money for it? Would you like to buy it? Or is this something worth uh, worth some money for you? Because getting paying customers is your bread and butter, right? So making sure your idea is not just in your head, like you, let's say you are facing some small issue and you feel like, oh, I to solve this issue I can automate it like this, or build some tool like this, or build a product like this. But if others are not facing that issue, or if that issue is not pressing for others, that they pay some money for a solution, then it's not the right thing to pursue, right? And so basically get involved with your customers in defining what your product should be. Talk to people, you know build the smallest possible prototype, show it to somebody and take their feedback, and they, trust me, people will give you feedback, they will help you improve your product. And always focus on getting paying customers. Unless you have enough of those, you don't have a successful startup, right? So I think this idea is something that's and you would see like some of the best business schools in the world that teach entrepreneurship will focus heavily on this, because you need to be a salesperson, you need to be able to sell your idea to people, you need to be able to talk confidently to people, you need to be able to ask them for money, basically, like, right? You are selling a product, you are selling a service. It's not you are not doing it for charity, right? So all those things you have to really bring out in yourself. So yeah, I think that is really crucial. So don't underestimate um how difficult that thing might be, right? Don't just think like, oh yeah, if I build a great product, people will automatically buy it. No, you have to take efforts, as much effort as you put in to build the product to actually sell your product. So spend at least equal amount of time on that as well. So yeah, Sachin, you can take it from there.
So just to connect to that is fail fast, right? Sometimes you have idea in your head and it's like a eureka moment saying, okay, this is something awesome, right? And you start working on that. And what mistakes people make is they spend like enormous amount of time, even though they get the signals, okay, this is not somebody's going to buy, and or maybe this is not such a big problem that we can put it on the market, right? So fail fast is important, right? You as soon as you see those signals, you honestly ask yourself, is this something that I should continue, right? Because it's always a thought that I have put so much time, there is attachment. It's like it's my baby, how can I leave it, right? But uh, if you want to bring something better, you have to fail fast. You draw a line saying, okay, this is where I stop. This is where I stop this experiment. Everything in life is like treated as an experiment, right? You put in some ingredients, you see what is the output coming, and if the output is not what you wanted, you do some tweaking, changes, iterations. But if you feel okay, this is not working for me, just leave it. Or what do you call it? Pivot, like change the direction rather than going from business to business. Maybe you can go to selling it to end customers. It could be anything. There are like lots of fine tuning that you can do to your idea. Sometimes the idea itself you can discard, saying that okay, this is something I don't think is going to work because there are this is something that people have already solved. There are competition softwares that are solving this, or this is not a problem that people are like worth like people are ready to spend money on, right? So that's fail fast, which also ties up with validate your idea. And then build a team, right? So there's a principle like the sum of the total is greater than the individuals, right? 2 + 2 makes 5. So if you have people who are like-minded, it's nothing like working in a team of those people, right? So it's always like there is always time where you feel down, you feel that okay, something is not working for you. There are things that are out of your control. But a team of like-minded people will make sure that you get support whenever you need, and you also lend your support to the team. And I think no one individually can build something huge, right? Yes, there would be a face to the whole startup. There might be just leaders saying, okay, this is the founder, this is the co-founder, but behind those people, there is a huge team which is responsible for the success, right? So build a team. There's nothing like working in a team of like-minded people. You'll also have like fun, right? Really learning from people pushing you to your limits to learn, right? That's something amazing that can happen. And then sell, as Darshak said, yes, selling is important. Like we as engineers, we feel okay, we are supposed to build, right? We just keep on building. Okay, if this is not working, I'll build this much. I will add this feature to my website, to my app, to my whatever machine I would, or electronic circuit. I'll just keep on building. But we kind of forget about the sell part, right? If the company has to run, there has to be cash flow, and to ensure that the cash flow is there, you have to sell, you have to speak out, you have to be confident, you have to ask for money, saying, okay, this is the service I'm ready to give you. Are you ready to give me money? You can start with your friends, your colleagues, your family, and then you can go to social media as well. Once you validate, okay, this is something that people love, don't stop selling, right? So that this is really important, which is ignored kind of in startups. It's always about, okay, building something glamorous, but you have to sell it. Unless you sell it, it's not going to provide the fuel for your startup, right? Yeah, I think any questions? We want to pause quickly and take any questions there. I think there is a hand up from Kaustubh.
Yes, Kaustubh. Yes, Kaustubh, you can unmute yourself.
So my question to you is that how you managed to convince your family? So you were working in MNC with quite a well in hand. So how you managed your family to go for a startup?
Okay, I'll answer for myself and then I'll give it to Darshak to answer for him. So my answer is I have still not convinced my family, to be frank. So it's always the question comes from the family: is this the right thing you're doing, right? I would say that if you are convinced, it's always easier to convince your family, right? First thing is you have to be convinced, right? Uh, Always when we leave or when we fail or when we kind of give up, the excuses given are okay, well, family doesn't want me to do, but that's not the reason. The reason is you don't want to do, right? So the thing is that you have to be convinced. And for me, I was really convinced. Like after my 15 years of career in corporate world, I have seen everything from being a junior software engineer to being a senior manager and going to a director position. I'd seen it all, and I it was like, okay, now what next, right? Just getting more salary, is that what I want to do? And that was the answer for me. No, I don't want to do this, right? Okay, this is a risk that I want to take. And I convinced my family saying, okay, maybe give me 2 or 3 years. I have saved enough for those 2 to 3 years, 2 to 3 years. After that, we'll see. I can always go back to the job. But that convincing is always convincing yourself. If you are convinced, you should be able to convince anybody in the world, right? So that's my answer. I think I'll give it to Darshak for his perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, so I think what Sachin said is the most important thing, right? First of all, are you 100% convinced that you want to do this? And that sometimes, the answer might be immediately yes, and sometimes people take, 6 months, a year, or maybe more than that, to be ready, right? That they think, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, I can do this. And yeah, in my case, it wasn't that difficult. I mean, I come from kind of background where my father has his own business, my grandfather has his own business. So I do come from a family business kind of background. So it wasn't that difficult, but yes, still the decision is challenging. And yeah, but you have to be sure yourself first, and then convincing others is not that difficult.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Any other questions?
Yeah, I think, yeah, so always the question is, where do I start, right? And so this is a question that we have been asking for 15 years. Like for me itself, for my case, I would tell you like, yeah, I want to start something, but where do I start? And it's okay, like doing a job is also a start, right? Because you are learning something there, how companies run. It's not that, okay, you leave everything and you start coding, that's a start, right? The starts are different for different people. So you have to again like think about it, like where you want to reach, and then what are the starts. Maybe it's okay to spend a couple of years in corporate world, seeing how companies run, what are the processes, how teams are built, how teams are managed, and then you come out and say, okay, this is something that I want to do. Or it could be like right away, I don't want to go there because I know my friends, family, how their jobs are, and I don't want to do this, and I right away want to jump into this and get it started. So both ways are possible. I think the best middle way I would say is join a startup, right? That is the first-hand experience that you would get, like how a startup works. Generally, startups, if it's a funded startup, it might give you a good salary. But if it's a startup which is not funded, you might have lesser salaries than maybe the other corporate job or bigger companies that come to campus and offer you jobs, right? But then again, if you're okay with that, sacrificing that part and working for a startup to learn more and investing for your future, I think that's the best option. So I would say go ahead, work for a startup. Secondly, the networking part, right? Joining communities, going to talks of these communities. There are a lot of these communities in Pune itself, right? So Thai Pune community is a really good example. Pune Open Coffee Club is where there are these presentations happen. People pitch their ideas. There are investors who come there sometimes. So that you pitch their idea, investor can give you seed funding. Those kind of things happen. You just pitch, not just pitch them, also demonstrate your working thesis, right? So startup lanes community, startup grind community, these are some of those other networking communities that you can find around. And you don't really have to, because now the world is all online, you don't have to physically go, but I would say physically going helps. Uh, meeting people, talking to them informally, that helps. So if there are events which are offline, make sure that you go and attend them, right? Yes. Yeah, and then Darshak, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, and these are some of the great books that we would highly recommend. The Lean Startup by Eric Ries. This is again treated as like a Bible for in the startup world. We would say everybody must read this book. It gives you a lot of, and many of the principles that we talked about actually come from this book. Then the almanac of Naval Ravikant from Eric Jorgensen. This is also a great book. And then
Yeah,
delivering.
now,
Yeah, Sachin.
yeah, sorry. I'll just talk about Naval. So Naval is somebody who was born in US. He's a Indian person. He's a single parent child, and he has seen all the negative things, all the like hardship that he had to face in life, and he started his own companies. He sold his companies, and he's on the board of directors. He invests in other companies. So Uber was one of the company where he was an investor. So really good, what to say, wisdom nuggets. If you follow him on Twitter also, it's a really great like place to follow him. So he just in like those 200 characters or 140 characters, he will give you this really good advices. And those advice not just are like theory or philosophy, it's something that comes from his own experience. So I would say read this book, also follow him on Twitter. He also has very interesting podcasts, so you can listen to him as well. People who don't like to read so much, I think podcast is the best way. Yeah, Darshan.
Yeah, and then Delivering Happiness by Tony Hsieh. So this is a book by a founder of the company Zappos. Zappos is one of the very popular companies in the US that it's an e-commerce site for. It started with only shoes, and then now they provide clothing and accessories and a lot of things. And his book is also really good, very different from a lot of other startup books that I have read. So I would highly recommend
Right.
that as well. Yeah.
There are some additional books. Generally, we have these examples of foreign people who are starting companies. So there are a lot of Indian people who have started companies, and I would highly recommend to read that. So I would say Kirloskar is one of the examples, right? Shantanu Kirloskar is the grandson of the founder. But so the whole Kirloskar family, they started the family business from zero, right? So there is a book called Cactus and Roses by Shantanu Rao Kirloskar, and a really amazing book, right? How from zero, when India just got independence, and there is all this license raj where you can't start a company easily, and from there becoming a multi-billion-dollar company, right? Similarly, I think JRD Tata, there is a book called Beyond Mountain Blue, written by JRD Tata, and again, amazing journey. These people, Parsi people, came from other country to India, settling here, and then starting their own companies, and not just starting, becoming the backbone of the country, right? If you see Tata Steel, Air India, these are the like huge companies that were started, and TCS right now, Tata Consultancy Services, and never compromising on their principles, right? Tatas are very famous for their principles. They will not bend on their principles just for doing business. So these are some homegrown examples. Also, you should read. Always keep an eye on these biographies and autobiographies. These are very interesting, where people have started from zero, from India, where we are, and have grown to multi-billion-dollar companies, right? Yeah, Darshan, back to you.
Yes, thanks. So yeah, but I would, highly, recommend that don't spend too much time reading and learning about what other people have done, because trust me, action towards your own startup is going to be the biggest factor. So yes, like read books, learn about others, follow other people's blog, listen to podcast, but not more than 5 to 10% of your daily time. I would say even that sometimes is too much. your 90 to 95% of effort should be actually building stuff or selling stuff. Only two things, right? Build what you want to sell and sell it. That should be your 95% of your time. All this, books and learning about other entrepreneurs or learning about the entrepreneurship should be done in remaining 5% of your time or 10% of your time, right? Most of your time should go behind taking very concrete actions uh, towards your company, towards building your company and selling what you're building. Those two things should be the most important priority in your life, and then everything else comes, right? uh, and then freelancing websites like Upwork and freelancer.com. These are sites, not again, not for everyone. Like, some people really get good work from these sites, and some people don't have, don't get good work or don't get good success over there. So like, try it out, see if it works for you. If it works, great, but if it does not, it's not the end of the world. uh, I haven't I mean, I've seen people who do great over there, and there are people who don't get success over there but then are successful entrepreneurs outside. uh, yes, so now we want to open this for questions and answers, and uh, we really want to hear from people. We really want to see, like, ask whatever questions you have. uh, no question is a stupid question, and you may ask hard questions, whatever you have.
There's a question from Sean Kamale. You can go ahead.
As you said that you went for Babson for MTech, and after 5 years you again came back to India. So my query was that after doing a MTech over there, you would have achieved a great job over there. But what made you came to India back again like that?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So I did my MBA from Babson, and I have always wanted to, start my own company. And it's not easy to start your company in the US if you are on a visa. Uh, it's so I always wanted to come back, start something over here. That was anyways the idea. I had decided, like, I'll stay there for about 5 years and then come back. uh, so that is one of the crucial things in my decision.
Yes. Yeah. Thanks.
Yeah, sure. Any other questions? Any other comments? Has anybody actually started working on some idea? Has anybody, come ahead in the startup journey that, yeah, okay, I have this idea, I'm very serious about starting something? How many of such students do we have? Okay, we have somebody.
Yes, Gaurav, you can unmute yourself.
Yes, sir. I have I have thought of two ideas for startup, as
Okay.
well as I'm planning with me of my friends, and we are collecting a team for it also.
Oh, very good. Great. So that's very good to hear, Gaurav, and wish you all wish you good luck, and I'm sure you will find great success. So feel free to reach out if you have if you would like to talk about anything in more detail, or if you want to discuss something. We are always available. Feel free to reach out anytime. Uh, and
Yes, thank you, sir.
yeah.
Yes, Rubina, ma'am.
Hello, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Nice to hear
So
you.
first of all, congratulations to both of you. I'm so proud and so happy for y'all. I'm
Thank you,
really,
ma'am.
really so happy. And the remaining students, they are a really good example, and I hope you'll learn something from them. See where y'all can also go. I'm so proud, especially Darshak. I never imagined you could speak so well. Both of you. Congratulations.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
When I'd seen Darshak's profile on LinkedIn, and I read down, and then I knew that you were doing your post graduation in business related field from a foreign university. But then when I saw that you're a CTO, I was astonished, and that made me connect to you. CEO, CTO, your own the brand names that you all have in the corporate world.
Yes,
So
yes.
as Rubina Madam is saying, it is really a proud moment for all us teachers here to see our students reach such heights. And
Thank you.
after reaching this place, you are coming back to your alma mater and trying to give whatever you can. That's the best part. I must appreciate that. And we will surely keep troubling you time and again.
Ma'am, it's not a trouble at all.
Yes,
Anytime.
we will be in contact, and many of our students, they would get motivated to start something on their own, and that would be the best outcome of the session. And hopefully in a year or so we would have many more, and we'll be interacting with you regularly.
Absolutely, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you. And
We have Wag Madam as well. Wag Madam, would you want to interact with them, and Dale Madam as well? Dale Madam
Yes,
has taught you. Yes, Dale Madam.
yes, madam. Thank you, and Sachin and Darshan. I think I was there for you people for teaching DIP. I don't remember now you people have taken that or not, but I just remember when I had seen you that I was teaching you people the DIVP or DIP subject that time.
yes,
So
Yeah.
it
ma'am.
is really very nice moment to see both of you together. So thank you, and we will be definitely in touch with you. So thank you both of you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Bhagishri, could you
Hello.
make Wag Madam
Yes,
present?
madam. Yes, madam.
Yeah,
Yes.
so that she
Hello,
can share a
Darshak
video as
and
well.
Sachin.
Hello, ma'am.
Yes, hello. It's like as a feeling proud parents for us.
Thank
It's
you.
Yes.
really proud moment for us.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay.
It's also very good feeling for us to come back to the college and be connected with the teachers
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
with the current students. It gives us great pleasure. We owe a lot to this college and the teachers there. We wouldn't be standing here if it was not for all the teachers. It was really a great learning experience, and many a times Sachin and I say like when we are interviewing freshers, we say like I don't know what these students are learning nowadays. We learned so much, we knew so much when we were in college. So thank you all the teachers. It was really great. Yes.
Thank you, all, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Bhagishri, do we have any more questions?
Yes, actually, I have a one question.
Yes.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yes, so look at now our generation is thinking about we have to do something different. Okay, so now student in 12th or student in a first year, second year, they think about we have to do something different, but there is
Yep.
some negative mind behind that. Okay, so how to tackle that negativity?
Ma'am, that is a very good question. And yes, there will, you will always have that negative feeling. And from time to time, even if you are a positive person, from time to time, you will feel a little bit of negativity or a little bit of fear or being scared. But I think, if first of all, if you have, a co-founder, it really helps. So it's much easier to do it with somebody than to do it alone. So having a founding team of 2 or 3 people is really great, because when you are feeling low, somebody else will help you, push a little more, or say it's okay, don't worry, things will work out. That really helps, having that support. And And then reminding yourself of your own goals, why you started the journey. That has helped me at least. I would, yeah, like Sachin also can add what his
Yeah,
thoughts
so
are.
basically, I think what Bhagesh remember saying is the negative connotation to the like doing something different. I think that what I guess from it that people want to be overnight successful. They want to be glamorous, but they don't want to do the hard work for it, right? It's just like
Yes.
longer successes take longer hard work, and it's like an iceberg. You just see that like 10%, 5%, 15% part up, but the most of the thing is the late nights that you spend planning, doing, executing, writing code, reviewing code, and like in your own field, it might not be coding, it might be something else. But yes, if you want to become successful in long term, that much time, effort, and hard work you have to put it in. You might become a overnight like a successful person, but it won't last. So I think that's something I'll want to say to students. Okay, it's okay to be famous in a day, but taking that hard work, and if you want a lasting success, you have to put in the hard work, right? There's no shortcut right there. Uh, and doing jobs is fine. Well, don't when there's a glamour about startups, but people always feel okay. I don't want to do a job because it's something looked down upon. But I believe me, it's a stepping stone. If you haven't done a job and if you want to know what happens in a job, by all means, take up a job, work for somebody else, learn there, make it a stepping stone, and then come back here. So there's no fixed formula, but yeah, I think hard work, the part of hard work is constant for all the formulae, right? It's
Yes.
not going to change.
Yeah, we have a
Yes.
mic
Thank
up.
you. Yes, I think Gaurav having question.
Yes, madam. I wanted to ask that as we know that whenever we do or whenever we are trying to do a startup or thing, so as a student we also have other priorities such as studies, regular curriculum, as well as for startup we are learning new things and all, and many other priorities. So, is there? Would you like to share your experience that how can we manage that things? Everything in a very proper manner that because of one thing other should not get disturbed.
Yeah, that's a very good point, and definitely, like, yeah, sometimes it does get difficult, but so I would like to say two things, right? One is student life and startup life are still easier to manage than if you were already doing a job somewhere and thinking of starting your own company, and then trying to balance a job and then a startup. So it's like, yes, at this point you may feel very difficult, but it's still manageable. And about the student life and startup life, I would say also focus on trying to find things that will help you in both, like learning things that will help you become a better student, as well as will help you build your product or whatever you're trying to build, right? That will actually give you the best outcome. uh, I think Sachin can add a
Yeah,
lot
I think
more
I
on that
just
as
agree
well.
with that. Just find a synergy first of all. What's the common part? For a mechanical student, it could be machine design. You know that I can design a machine, I can build a machine and sell a machine. For computer science, it could be just coding, right? Coding is like a building block for anything you do. You build an app or website, or you do some services on cloud side. So being a better coder always helps. So find synergies. And I would say have a discipline. Keep like 1 or 2 hours or a weekend one day, because uh, uh, trust me, like I was also a student. Something that you like, you will always find time for it, and you don't have to give up something else totally for it. I mean, something that you have to do as a student, you have to complete your assignment, you have to study, you have to give exams. So that part you can't skip. But I think there is enough time. You just have to find it, right? So I think that's what I wanted to add.
And just, yeah, and just to add to that, a lot of things that we kind of think we have to do are not absolutely necessary. Like, uh, for example, reading about somebody else's startup is a lowest priority. Like, uh, if you have to choose between studying and doing something for your own startup, that is actually building the product or talking to somebody to sell your idea, versus learning about some topic, then yeah, like you should remove the the learning part of somebody else's startup or some other, like listening, like reading blogs and all that take up a lot of time. And like those are a lot of like feel good kind of things. Like you will feel good when you read 10 blogs, but at the end of the day it's not going to move the needle. So always ask yourself, like, in the next 1 hour, whatever, let's say I plan to read this book or read this blog, versus I plan to sit and create a small web page, what is more, what is something that is actually giving me the best output towards my startup goal, and just focus and do that, ruthlessly eliminate everything else, and that will give you a lot of time.
We also have Jayashree madam with us. You would remember madam as Kedar madam.
Yes.
Do you know, these
Yes.
days things have changed. Now our students know us by our first names. But when
Yeah.
you all were there, you knew us
Right.
only by our surnames. Things have
So
changed. So
today
Kedar madam,
I learned Khan madam's first name.
yes, that's what I'm saying. Our students today they know us by our first names. Things
Yeah.
have
Yes.
changed.
Nice to
Yes,
meet you.
Jayashree, if you want to add.
Hello,
First
ma'am.
of all, I'm very much happy after seeing you after long years, long time. And I agree with Sachin that longer hard work will give longer success. It's really true. And even agree with Darshan that is only reading someone's biography. Instead of that, take the action on that. That is also important. It's really true. And really proud of you, both of you. Really listen, Miss, after seeing you, we are very much happy.
Thank you, ma'am.
that
Thank you.
that kind of success our students, you are well proven outside India as well. You are proven here in India as well. Yes, all the best, both of you. All the best, Sachin, Darshan. All
Thank you,
the
ma'am.
best.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you.
and तुम्ही दोघेही जसे आहात तसेच आहात. काही बदल नाहीये दोघांमध्ये.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Very
Thank
nice, very nice. Thanks a lot. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bhagishri, any more questions?
Yes, anyone having any question? I think that, ma'am.
All right, we can wind up then.
Yes. Yes, Titiksha.
Yes. Thank you so much to both our speakers. It was such an enlightening session. I'm sure all the attendees found it extremely useful and informative. Clearance and values. Gishri Madam to
Titiksha, I
propose
think
vote
your
of thanks.
voice.
I think you have a network issue. I think
Hello,
Titisha. We are not
Yes,
able
am I
yes,
audible
Titiksha
now?
having networks.
Yes, Bhagishri, please
Yes.
Oh, I'm
take
so
over.
sorry. I think,
Yes,
yeah,
it's
some
okay,
issues.
Titiksha. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Titiksha. Good afternoon to all. I am Bhagyashree More, and I am honored to have the opportunity to propose a vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of MESCO IIC Startup Cell and the entire fraternity of MESCO, would like to extend my gratitude towards the management of Modern Education Society, Dr. Hakke Sir, Trustee MES, Dr. Sarvade Sir, Principal MES COE, Dr. MP Dale Madam, Vice Principal MES COE, for motivating us to organize such an innovative activity. I would like to thank our today's speaker, our own computer alumni of 2005 batch, Mr. Darshak Shah and Mr. Sachin Khoth, for delivering and enlightening us with their knowledge. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude towards Dr. N.F. Sheikh Madam, HOD Computer Department and President IIC-MESCO, Dr. S.H. Gavande Sir, Convener IIC-MESCO, Dr. R.M. Vahul Madam, IIC-MESCO Startup Coordinator, for continuously guiding us and giving all the necessary support and motivation. I would like to take this opportunity to express my deepest sense of appreciation towards our dedicated startup cell team members with staff, students, coordinators, and their continuous support. Last but not least, thank you to all the participants present here for giving your attention and learning new perceptions. The event would not be possible without your active participation. Thank you so much. Over to you, Titiksha.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Am I audible now?
Yes, now you're cleared.
Okay. I request the staff members to switch on the video for photograph. Yes, thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Darshak
you,
and
everyone,
Sachin,
for attending.
there is one thing in common. Even you all have started wearing specs.
Yes.
All of us
That's
here are
true.
with specs, even both of you are.
Yes.
Yes, ma'am, that is true.
Chalo. Nice interaction.
Thank you, ma'am.
We'll have a get together of the 2005 batch. It
Sure.
could be
Definitely.
virtually as well. Let's see how many we can collect, and
Sure,
we'll
sure,
have a
sure.
virtual chat with everyone.
Yes, yes, yes. That would be great. Yes.
So we will
Should have it.
let me check. Yes, we'll organize it very soon. Batch
Great.
wise, we'll have these organizations. Let's see.
Okay.
Fun.
Great.
All the
Thanks a
best.
lot.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thanks.
ma'am. Thanks.
Yes.
It was a
Bye.
pleasure coming here and talking to you all.
It was a pleasure as well.
Thank you.
Thank
Take
you,
care.
ma'am. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Usha madam, have you downloaded the attendance? And if yes, we can end the meeting then.
Yes, madam, I have downloaded it. Now I
Okay.
publish meeting. Thank you all.
Thank you, Usha. You can end the meeting now. Yeah.
Yes, madam. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.